Hi, I'm Lance Henriksen. You're watching Brian Lomax's Movie Talk.
Die Hard with a Vengeance sees John McClane returning to the screen once again in 1995. This was a few years after the second film, but also, and more importantly perhaps, we get the return of director John McTiernan from the first film. We're back in New York. Obviously the first film and the second film was set in LA when John kind of moved back over to be with his wife. Well, they're kind of separated again. He's gone back to New York, he's a New York cop again, and there is a terrorist setting off bombs around the city. That terrorist is calling himself Simon. Simon decides to put John McClane through a series of kind of games. He says that he won't set off these other bombs, providing John McClane does what he tells him. So yeah. That's basically the gist of the film. Now, if you've not seen this before, but you're a fan of the first one, I don't know why you wouldn't have seen this, but yeah, this will have spoilers in it. So, you know, if you don't want the film spoiling, go away. But yeah, basically this terrorist turns out to be the brother of Hans Gruber, the man from the first film, played by Alan Rickman, the awesome Alan Rickman from the first film. Yeah, this time it's played by Jeremy Irons. He is, as I say, Gruber's brother. He's not quite as good, I don't think, as Alan Rickman. He's still very good presence in this film, I think. And there's certainly a precursor here for a lot of the stuff that the Joker does in Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight. There's one moment when he phones a news kind of station and gives them some information about this school, about this bomb in this school, in order to rile up the people in the city, in order to cause chaos. And when I watched that this time around, I thought, wow, Dark Knight, that's Christopher Nolan, you know, you've been inspired. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of inspiration for other films in this one, as there was obviously with the first original Die Hard. But Jeremy Irons overall isn't quite as solid as Rickman, and I think that's a lot of it is down to the writing. Now the first half of this film, or certainly the first 40 minutes of this film, absolutely note perfect. I'd say it was on a par with the first one, in many ways better. You've got a bigger canvas, you're not just stuck in one building, you're out in an entire city, and boy do they make use of that. They go everywhere. There's this one scene where they literally have to get from one part of the city to another within half an hour, which would be impossible because just of how many blocks they have to travel. So they're kind of racing through these blocks, like going over Central Park in this taxi, and it is really frenetic, action-packed, kind of adrenaline-inducing stuff. So yeah, I love that broader canvas they have to work with here. But I think also as a result of that, they kind of lose their way a bit about 50 minutes in. Now, when they pull a heist, the terrorists pull this heist, because all of these games they're playing with John McClane is really a distraction so that they can pull this heist. There's some creative choices there that I don't like the use of this music. It's like a musical cue of the animals going 2 by 2. You know, they've got that music there, and it's really off-putting. It doesn't match the tone of the film up to that point. You know, we played it pretty serious. You know, there's moments of humour that come out of the characters, but it's not slapstick. It's not, you know, it's not panto. And that's what this kind of does to it. It makes it feel a little bit like they've gone in a completely different direction. But there's a few moments as well that are kind of anticlimactic. I don't like the way that Gruber gets taken down in this film. It feels very just, yeah, like tacked on almost. There's a scene in which John McClane is kind of forced up from a sewer, from a tunnel with this water that kind of throws him out. One, the special effects on that are absolutely terrible, and two, this is where we're really getting into superhero territory, isn't it? The level of things that John McClane can survive at this point is just getting ridiculous. Save for those points that I think really let this movie down quite a bit. This is a very good action film. It's certainly better than the second one. I love the relationship between John McClane and Samuel L. Jackson's character. You know, Samuel L. Jackson plays this guy who is an out-and-out racist. He has all these preconceptions about white people, and it's quite a refreshing change to see that in a film, that actually, you know what, it's the black guy who's dumping all this stuff onto white people, you know. So yeah, I like the relationship and the sparring that goes on between those two characters. We get to see quite a few other minor roles from like other cop characters as well. So we get to see the officers that John works with, like his boss, his chief, and then one of the guys around his level. I like them characters. I like that they're not just token cops. They're not the kind of cops like Dennis Franz from the second one, where they're all poo-pooing everything that John McClane says and never actually learning that this guy actually has something to offer. So the guy in particular who plays the chief, really liked him in this role. I think he's not your typical chief that you see in cop movies. He's not barking orders all the time and shouting and stuff. He feels like a genuine cop. So I like the detail they've paid, or the attention to detail they've paid with those characters. This is a really solid action film, and other than those first 40 minutes, it doesn't quite reach the heights of the first one, of the original. But then, you know how many action films do. It's great to have John McTiernan back in the director's chair. I think he clearly knows this character well, and he does a much better job with it than Rennie Harlin did. We do get a lot more character development than the previous film, which I really like. It was the strength of the first film, and again, yeah, they bring that here. So I'm going to give this a 4 out of 5. I think it's, out of the first 3 films, it's clearly the second best, much better than the second one, just not quite there with the first one. But what do you think? Have you seen Die Hard with a Vengeance? What do you think about it? Please comment below, let me know, and until next time, thanks for watching.